with a brand new Yu-Gi-Oh video. Today is a little bit of a live stream because we're going to be taking a look at some speed duel content. In particular, we're going to be taking a look at the speed duel structure deck, or starter deck, Duelists of Tomorrow. So if you aren't familiar with speed dueling is a new format that Konami has released. It's basically Duel Links IRL, and in a sense to kind of capture, I believe, like encapsulate more of the nostalgia players. I think they've realized that a lot of people are playing the game, I think, casually and more want to play the classic stuff, which is why Duel Links is actually really popular. So they basically made Duel Links into an actual format in the card game. And what's really cool about Speed Duels is they're highlighting more of the classic cards, from the original eras of Yu-Gi-Oh! And a lot of the original archetypes like Amazoness, Harpies, Blue Eyes. But this is before all the massive crazy stuff came out. And also, it's very similar in a way to the Duel Terminal stuff where you can use your Speed Duel cards in real Yu-Gi-Oh! Games in the main format, but you can't bring your main format cards to Speed Duels, which means that you will have to buy extra cards for this format. So you basically kind of have to choose in a way what you're going to play going forward. But for the starter decks, I mean, they retail, I think it retails for about 15, 16. It's pretty, or retails for about a standard Yu-Gi-Oh! Starter deck price. But you do end up getting 3 individual decks from both of the 2 starters, so you do have a lot of variety. And I did pick up one today, split it with someone, and we went through and we played a bunch of games. I think we spent about an hour going through the decks, and we just had mindless fun. We split it was like $10 each or whatever, and we just had mindless fun playing around with the 3 decks. We worked out that the Kaiba deck is the stronger of the 3 decks, and Joey is definitely the weaker. But in this video, I'm going to go through each of the decks. You guys probably know what's in it, but I'm just going to give you my thoughts on it, because one of the decks is Harpies and Amazoness, so I want to talk about it. But also, what's really cool about this starter deck, both starter decks, is you do get 3 promo cards, 3 ultra rare promo cards. And in the case of some of these cards have never been printed in Ultra before. I know the other starter deck does have Mimicat in an Ultra Rare, making it the 2nd highest printing. But what's really cool about this one is you do get an Ultra Rare Amazoness Village. And I do love Amazoness, and I've played Amazoness, have an Amazoness profile on the channel before. And as you can see down there, we do have the little Speed Duel watermark. It's a lot easier to see on the foils. But that's really cool. You also get Champion's Vigilance, which is really good in Kaiba's deck, and Fusion Gate, obviously, for Joey, because he's the only character to have fusions. And what's cool about these promos is rather than them being super good in all decks, like you can tell that there's one promo designed for each deck. So that's really cool. And I can also chuck in my foil Amazon's Village into my Amazon's deck, which is really nice as well. So starting off, we're going to start with Kaiba. So you do get 3 individual decks, and they are individually sealed. So if you did want to, buy these and split them with people, which is what's really cool I like about it, you can do that. So, we have opened them already, but they are individually sealed, as you can see here. So you can crack them open. So we'll start to look at Kaiba, and each deck, of course, does have like its own separate stuff, because it's like a separate starter deck. So each deck, I believe, is 20 cards and 3 skills, with the exception of Joey, who does get some future monsters as well. So so every character comes with 3 skills, and I know there's a lot of videos on these, but they're basically, most of them are stuff from Duel Links. But I think each character in here does have a skill, a brand new skill they don't have in Duel Links, and those tend to be the really powerful ones. So we got Peak Performance, which basically starts with Mountain on the field. Beatdown is where you just get bigger stuff. And then this is the really cool one. This is one that people think is going to be pretty powerful. So Dragon Caller. So once per duel, you can do one of the 2 following things. If you have Lord of Dragons on the field, you can add Flute of Something Dragon. And if you reveal Flute, you can add Lord of Dragons from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So that's pretty powerful. Of course, this is once per duel. And you basically pick a skill, and that's, I think, going to be active for your entire tournament. So you can't side out skills. So I think that's interesting. Like if you were able, and I don't think they're gonna have siding, in dueling in speed duels coming forth. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So obviously the best of these 3 is Dragon Caller. We did try out the other 2, but Dragon Caller was always the most consistent for Kaiba. So Kaiba's deck is a mixture of normal and effect monsters. Of course, he has his Blue Eyes. He's got Battle Lock, 2 copies of Battle Lock, freakish empowered. So high attack point, level 4s. I mean, yeah, there are higher attack point level 4s in the game right now, but back in this era, these cards were pretty strong. Luster Dragon was a real pain to get over. Was one tribute, very annoying. Had a few ways to get rid of it in Harpies, but he always had ways to stop it. He got a lot of dragons. Obviously, he got 2 copies of those. Twin-Head Behemoth, very powerful card. And then Tyrant Dragon, also really powerful. So you can see there's 3 very powerful dragons that are prime flute targets. Spirit Ryu, also very powerful. If you're making a stronger dragon deck, this guy is insane. So he gets huge really quickly. And then you got Kaiba Man, and Kaiba Man was a nightmare to deal with. So if he'd opened up a Kaiba Man and Blue Eyes, you could just treat out Blue Eyes on the field, and I literally had very few outs of Blue Eyes with Harpies, so that was pretty funny. Flute of Summoning Dragon, also Stamping Destruction, really good. Cost down to make, so he could just normal summon his Luster Dragon too. Burst Stream, wipe my board, Mountain, pretty straightforward. Interdimensional Matter Transporter was also annoying. If I would like target one of his Blue Eyes or something like that, he could just get rid of it. Dragon's Rebirth, yeah, so he could like bring, he could banish one of his weaker dragons. So he could banish like his Spirit Ryu, or his Twin-Head Behemoth, and then bring out like a Blue Eyes. That was really annoying. And then Trap Jammer as well, really frustrating card to deal with. I could stop my Windstorm. So next up, we'll take a look at Joey. I want to end with Mai because Mai's awesome. So first off, we have Grit for Joey. So yeah, this is an interesting one. So have your turn, call 2 numbers and roll a 6-sided die. If you roll a number you called, your life points do not get lower until the end of your opponent's turn. This skill can only be used once per turn. It's pretty Last Gamble's the one that is pretty fucking powerful for Joey. Pretty powerful for Joey. So at the start of your 5th turn, activate this skill. Count both players' turns. During a main phase, you can reduce your life points to 1,000. So to 100, and discard 2 cards from your hand, roll 6-sided die, and draw cards equal to the result only once per duel. This could be good going forth later on, but for now it's kind of air. And this is the one that we were using for Joey most of the time, because it basically makes the starter deck playable. So Polymerization, so you reveal a normal monster in your hand. This turn, that monster can substitute for any one fusion material. If you do, the other one must be the correct ones. Can only be used once per duel. So this is like a generic skill that you can use with like any fusion deck going forth. Pretty cool, considering that Joey's deck was pretty vanilla. Like, he got 3 fusion monsters, but they're not great. Like, well, just like, as you can see, we go through the material. So you obviously got his Red Eyes Black Dragon, which is his ace monster. Meteor Dragon, so you assume he gets Meteor Black Dragon, right? But he doesn't have it. So, Flame Manipulator and Masaki, obviously, because he has Flame Swordsman. And you've got Alligator Sword and Baby Dragon, so you can make 1,000 Dragons. So, Alligator Sword, Dragon, and then you've got Time Wizard as well, so you can make 1,000 Dragon. But, so, like, you have all the materials to make some of his most iconic fusion monsters, but you don't have a way to make Meteor Black Dragon, so it's like, why give you Meteor Dragon? I just don't understand. It does effect monsters, obviously Time Wizard, he was pretty funny, he came into play a little bit. Little Wingard, decent wall for level 4, 1800 beats defense wall. Copycat was really good if against Blue Eyes, but again, like, you'd swap Blue Eyes and then he'd like Dragon's Rebirth Blue Eyes back, so that was annoying. Gearfried the Iron Knight, good level 4 monster. So then obviously Joey gets 2 polys that got a bit bricky. Stray Lambs just to defense or get 2 tributes for Red Eyes. Red Eyes, like, it's what really annoyed me about this deck, because it's like, Red Eyes is the highest attack point monster this deck has, and he can't really get over Blue Eyes. He can trade the Luster Dragon, but that's kind of it. Legendary Sword, so gives a warrior 300 attack and defense value. Sogen, to give all your warriors more power. This is a skill that Joey can have in Duel Links, so he might get it going forth in the set. Dice Foom was pretty funny. Graceful Dice and Skull Dice, they were pretty fun to use. Kunai with Chain's a good card, swapping his monsters to defense. Swapping opponents monsters defense. And Red Eyes Spirit to bring Red Eyes back. And then Fusion Monsters, Joey got Alligator Sword Dragon, so it's the only non-vanilla one. Can attack directly, but it's only 1700 attack, so pretty easy to beat over. Flame Swordsman, I really wanted to make this as a joke. I just never got the chance to make this guy. And 1,000 Dragon, he's good, like 2400, but when you can just cheat out Blue Eyes, this guy, is like nothing. So that's it for Joey. As you can see, Joey has potential, but you really have to open well and hope the Blue Eyes player isn't on their game. But my friend was also playing Blue Eyes when I was playing Joey while I was playing Mai, and but Joey just had absolutely no luck. So finally taking a look at Mai's deck. So Mai's very much in the middle. So she has Aroma Strategy, which she has in Duel Links, so you can look at the top card. That's a very good generic skill if you want to go ahead and buy 3 starter decks and make pure Amazonas, which is actually pretty powerful because you have 3 village and you have 9 Amazonas monsters, so you have a decent monster base off the bat. The problem is you've got a spell trap destruction, you have damage, and you can still cast your opponent's hand, where it's probably better to wait until future Amazon's cards come out. If it's going to be anything like it was in Duel Links, Onslaught's going to be insane. So Aroma Strategy is really cool. Flight of the Harpies, definitely wanted to get this because this card is really cool. So this is this and Tribal Synergy. Just wanted it for my Harpy collection. So basically this card is the same as she has in Duel Links. If you have 18, take 1800 more points of damage. So obviously you have 4k life points, so 1800 is almost half your life points. You can add a Harpy card from your deck to your hand. This is a once per duel skill. No, it's not. So this is not a once per turn, because you get to flip it back over. So some skills you can use more than once. So you theoretically could use this twice per duel. Obviously a bit more relevant when you get more Harpy cards, but there aren't many Harpy cards in the game right now. There's only 4 Harpy monsters. And one of them you don't want to draw. Next up is this card, Tribal Synergy. So Tribal Synergy is really powerful, and it was the skill I was using most of the time, which is the one you're probably going to be using if you're playing with the starter decks. So if you have an Amazoness and a Harpy monster in your hand, you reveal them when you draw 1 card, and then if you have one of each on the field, you can draw 2 cards. So you can use each skill once per duel. So this card's really powerful because you can draw 3 cards. But the problem is, when you're going later on, is you're playing 2 archetypes in the same deck. I mean, it does work pretty cool with how Mai plays her deck, but I think this card is a lot more overhyped than people think it is. Just basically out of the starter decks, this card is probably one of the best skills out of this starter deck, in my opinion, because of how it draws you a lot of cards. So that's pretty cool. Monster lineup, as you would expect, Mai has 1 each of the 3 Harpy ladies. Again, they all count as Harpy Lady, so I've talked about Harpies like crazy, so you know what all 3 of these monsters do by now, probably on this channel. Harpy Lady 1 is the best one, but Harpy Lady 2 and 3 do actually have some merit in this format, because if your opponent's got the Blue Eyes out, and you, with the starter decks, and you set Harpy Lady 3, and your opponent swings into it, their Blue Eyes can't attack for 2 turns. So you kind of have 2 turns to kind of come up with an answer. Harpy Lady 2, none of the decks that you get in this one have flip effects. So it was really awkward that Harpy Lady 2's here. I know they wanted to have all 3 for theme, but for now, I feel like Harpy Lady 3 is better in the Speed Duel format than Harpy Lady 2. But Harpy Lady 1 is still the best Harpy. And there's something really cool about the Speed Duels as well. They've got like this nice gloss on them, which you can see for that, which is pretty cool. You also grab Harpy Lady Sisters as well, which is really nice. And actually, you might consider playing some of these Speed Duel versions of the cards in my actual Harpy deck, just, to give it a nice mixture, because I do play a dual terminal Harpy Lady 1 in my Harpy deck, just, give some variety, which is pretty cool. So she also has some Amazonas. So you've got Amazon Swordswoman, very powerful card in Duel Links, and I'm sure she'll be very powerful in Speed Duels, particularly in the starter deck. She was very powerful. Chainmaster, pretty fun card to play around with. Basically, you pay 1500 life points if she's dead, destroyed by battle, steal a monster from your opponent's hand. So you can kind of steal their powerful monsters and use them for your own. Very, very powerful card. And then Amazon Sage can destroy spells and traps after she attacks. Not as relevant in the starter decks, because there aren't as many back row that you want to get rid of. But, yeah, still pretty cool. Birdface at 2 copies. So, again, this is what I'm talking about. This set, the good thing about these starter decks, or going forth, is the reprints. So, Birdface, I know, is not played in Harpy decks anymore, but it's a card I've wanted for Harpy collection for a long time, and I've never actually been able to find one. So, having Birdface as a reprint, it's great. And same thing for the Gravekeeper deck in the other starter deck, because Shizu has a bunch of Gravekeepers, and I know the Gravekeeper sport came out, and they didn't actually reprint a lot of the old Gravekeeper cards. So it's nice that we actually have those, and they are legal to use in the normal formats, which I think is really cool. And you also get Sonic Shooter. He's been with the Harpies for a while. He can direct attack if you have no spells and traps, so it's pretty cool. Oh, and there's no spell cards in your opponent's spell and trap card zone, so it works really well with the Harpies. You pop their spells and traps, and then you swing directly with him, which is cool. You get 2 copies of Elegant Egotist, pretty straightforward for Harpies, very nice. You get Triangle Ecstasy Spark, which actually was relevant. Wasn't because you're only playing a 20-card deck, so this card actually put in some work. You can, make sure Harpy Lady Sisters 2700 and your opponent can't activate traps. So if you're playing a mirror match against Harpies, they can't play, or the My deck, or if they're playing Windstorm, they can't play Windstorm, which is pretty cool. Yeah, and 2700 beat stick was a way that I could beat over Luster Dragon, and if I've put Blue Eyes into the defense point with my Windstorm, I could beat over Blue Eyes with this. So really cool. Cyber Shield, actually relevant, because you can equip it to your Harpy Lady 1 and get her up to 2100 attack, which was pretty difficult for opponent to beat over. Of course, this is vanilla Yu-Gi-Oh, so pretty vanilla Yu-Gi-Oh, so equip spells like this are pretty powerful. And then, of course, you get 1 Hunting Ground. So this actually surprised me that it came with Hunting Ground. Like, in Duel Links, it took, Hunting Ground only came out, like, last year, I believe? Yeah, last year. So we actually had to wait a really long time for Hunting Ground to come out. Sadly, we don't get Queen, but you only get 1, that's fine. Heirloom is another great card that's in here. So you can equip this to your Swordswoman. She can swing, your opponent takes damage, she can't be destroyed, and then your opponent loses their monster. So lots of plus with Heirloom there. Amazon's Archer is another fun card. Lower opponent's attack, and it is a permanent reduction as well, which is really cool. So if you buy a second one, you stack a bunch of these up, you can get your opponent's monsters down a decent amount of attack. You also, and I believe, it's one Amazoness, so this card is searchable. If they ever add Princess to Duel Links, to Speed Duels, you can search this card out. Windstorm of Etaquia, very powerful card in the early days of Duel Links. So again, also actually was powerful here. Being able to swap big attack monsters, big dragons to the fence was very, very handy. But of course, Kaiba has Trap Jammer, so Trap Jammer hit this quite a few times, which was frustrating. Shadow of Eyes, probably one of the more irrelevant cards, but it is a card that Mai has used in the past, so it does fit really well with her theme. And then finally, Wild Tornado, fit the theme of Harpies pretty well. So overall, guys, I think each of these individual decks do a really good job of highlighting the themes around that the character plays. Joey has fusions, pretty terrible fusion monsters, but he also has a lot of luck cards, and his skills really do emulate those themes as well. So definitely think that if you guys want, if you guys are really craving some classic Yu-Gi-Oh nostalgia, or if you're really like, you want something to do for like an hour, you want an hour of fun, you just go split one of these Speed Duel starter decks with a friend, and you can just play around. And like me and my friend, we messed around with these for an hour, and we had so much fun just memeing and saying random voice lines and doing voices and just having a lot of fun with this. Definitely something, if you like classic Yu-Gi-Oh, to definitely worth checking out. I'm not sure if I'll be playing in the actual Speed Duel format. I don't really want to invest in another card game, and technically Speed Duel is a brand new card game. I'm not sure how well Speed Duels will do as a format. We'll have to wait and see. I think the first booster is coming out later this year, but it'll be cool to see how it goes down the track and how they work out the new skills. But at the end of the day, it's just a new fun, casual way to play some classic Yu-Gi-Oh with friends. Anyway, guys, what do you think about these new starter decks and Speed Duels in general? Feel free to let me know in the comments below. If you would like to see me film some duels with this, with these decks, I can arrange that to show you guys a little bit of fun playing around with these. Let me know in the comments below. Feel free to check out some of my other videos. If you like this stuff, feel free to like and subscribe. I do have a few new videos coming up. There is a top 5 worst Harpy Lady support cards video coming very, very soon for you guys. Just had a bit of a busy week, couple of weeks. Haven't been able to make a thumbnail for that one, but should be up at the end of this week, hopefully.